be saying, okay, Starman, we've seen you do a skeleton and we've seen you do an Elder Gold Dragon monster import, but those were both MM1 format monsters. How about you throw a curveball at the importer, see if we can do an MM3? Well, we've got this Rocktempest Gargoyle here, so let's give that a try. We'll copy him from the compendium, and I've already got his token set up with a handout. Remember, put a handout in just to make things more interesting. Go to the Notes tab, and we'll just paste that in. Then we'll say OK. And yep, that's ready to go. Click on the MPB to wake it up. So F4 will work. So we'll do F4 now. And we'll choose the bigger speed. Why not? And we don't need the library anymore, so we'll get rid of that. Verify that the proper powers have been recognized and they will be imported. So we'll click on Rocktempest Gargoyle and on any button to activate the import process. So, yep, that all looks good. We'll say OK there. And again, we'll ignore the flavor text. Leave that as an exercise. And that looks good. Again, basic attacks are, well, basic, so they should be going in correctly. And it does an effect, some ongoing. Let's see if it detects the effect. And it does create ongoing. So we'll say OK to that. Next, we have Tempest Claws, and this is a double attack. So it detects that, and it says, yep, I know that it's supposed to be 2 basic attacks. So once again, this is a trait, so it's not going to fill out the attack tab. And the targeting tab is equally irrelevant in this context because it's just a personal trait, but it's going to call an attack power. So it knows to attack twice. Say OK. It detects an effect, but wait a second though. This isn't a guaranteed effect. This is conditional. What's a conditional on? On both claws hitting. Now, we can't really make that determination at this point yet because he hasn't attacked. We don't know if he's going to hit with both claws. So we're going to opt out of this now. I'll show you how to shore this up later. So we'll cancel this so it doesn't do the dazed effect right away for either claw attack. So now we go on to Stone Form. And this is the utility power, of course, standard. And let's just make sure of what it does. Yada yada, and until it ends it as a minor action. Gains Tremor Sense 10. It won't actually do that, by the way. It's going to go to its default Dark Vision, which we can check. And let's see. Gains a plus 10 damage bonus, or bonus to all damage rolls before the end of its next turn. Okay, that sounds good. Let's see how much of the temporary hit points, if that's relevant, and resist 30 to all damage. So it's got a bunch of effects in there. Let's see which ones it will detect. But it is personal and it's not attack, so that's good. So we'll say OK. And this is actually correct. This, resist all. He does get resist all right away as part of this power. And he's going to want to sustain that as he sees fit. So that's correct. So we'll say OK. Resist property. And the temporary HPs, I don't think he gets this right away because that's later turns, is it not? Gains 10 temporary hit points at the start of each of its turns. And it cannot take actions except to end this effect. So that doesn't happen yet. So we'll do that manually later if we need to. So we'll cancel that. But the resist all is range 0 and he's including himself in that effect casting. So we'll say OK there. And we move on to the next power, Flying Strike. So let's take a look at this. Gargoyle flies up and swears. At any point during its move, it makes the following attack 3 times, but only once against any creature. This movement does not provoke opportunity attacks. So let's see how the importer handled that and how it talked to edit power, which is the macro that we're seeing right here, and modeled that behavior. It's going to run attack triggers, sure, basic attack. But since it's 3 times during a move, let's make it a visitation attack. If you've been in the obsolete section of the videos, you'll see the Frost Giant Berserker. does the same thing. So we're going to mimic that success on that monster that we imported way back when. Melee 1, Fortitude. This is each attack that it's actually describing here against Fortitude. One attack per token. We didn't have this for the Frost Giant. He can attack one guy more than once, but the power actually stipulates one attack per token, so make sure that's checked. Luckily for us, the importer's smart. It detected that and it checked it itself. So immune to always until end of turn. So, yep, so that's good. That has checked too. That was detected as well. And each attack does this. And so let's see. Okay. It's an attack and it's a recharge. So let's say okay. Now, what's the recharge for this? What are the conditions? Let's see. The gargoyle flies up to 8 squares at any point during its move. When the gargoyle uses stone form, that's when it recharges. So we will observe that and we will have it prompt. So when start my turn runs, it will prompt. It'll say, hey, has flying strike recharged yet? And you can answer at that point. We'll say, okay. Display handout. So it's detected the handout and it's asking, when do you want to display it? Let's say when he dies, it'll give the handout. All right, and reaction to dying. Yep, we'll make it automatic for the live handout macro. Bell goes off to indicate the main import has concluded, but we still have a problem. Remember that Tempest clause and the dazed and the whole uncertainty that we had going there? Let us rectify that now. We will go to macro management, append RE block, because we want to add an extra processing register effect in that power. We know it does the 2 basic attacks because remember it said call basic attack and we had a 2 in there. So that's good. It's going to be doing that and we have no problem with that. But if there's a double hit, we want a special action to take place on that double hit for those claws. So we want to put that processing block in to deliver a register effect on Tempest Claws. So choose that to put the RE block at the end, and we will choose double hit. Say okay. We want an effect. No, it's not a system effect. It is dazed. We'll say okay. And yep, that looks good. Save. Again, for register effect blocks, range is irrelevant because it's actually the double hit is what's going to be supplied to the register effect call that's being run. And dazed will be registered. And that is indeed duration save. Let's just double check. Tempest Claws, dazed, save ends. Looks good. Say okay. And it has appended that block. So let's actually test that out right now. We'll make sure the skeletons are visible so they can be attacked. And that is a ranged 1 power, the claw attack. So what we're going to do is we're going to go Tempest Claws. These will hit because it's a very powerful monster, just like the Gold Dragon. There's 1 hit. I think this guy can survive 2 hits. Let's see. Notice that's done the ongoing untyped for 1 claw. And it's redundant for the other claw as well. That bloodies him. We won't play the clip. Let's see if the dazed goes on him. There it is. We hit twice, so it goes on. Trust me, if you hit once, nothing's going to happen. And obviously, if you don't hit at all, if you miss, then really nothing's going to happen. No dazed will come. But it actually does the ongoing untyped and the dazed. So that looks good. Now let's test the visitation attack. So let's say he's out here and he wants to fly all around these guys and claw them while he does. The way we do that, again, if you saw the Frost Giant Berserker demo, you put the A boss in the top left corner. So right up there is where it's going to be aligned for each visitation. So it'll go here, then here, then here. So we want his top left corner to appear here at the first visitation when he attacks Bony Guy Blue. So what we do is we take FM snapshot for that position. For this position, top left corner, so he will occupy this area when he attacks this guy. Then finally, this position. And if you look at the chat here, we have recorded those positions on the A boss, and that's what the attack power macro will use to conduct the attack. So let's give it a try. And Flying Strike A boss. And unfortunately, the screen has gotten blacked out, but that's okay because we were told right here that he's attacking Bony Guy Blue, which is the bottom skeleton. And then it does damage, and that kills him. Next, notice how it's, yeah, he was here. Now he goes up to the next position, the next visit spot, and he gets a critical.
It's but a scratch. A scratch? Your arm's off. No, it isn't. Well, what's that then? I've heard worse.
Good old Monty Python, gotta love it. Holy Grail, a classic. All right, so cancel, and then we get the shirt. Yeah, the shirt for the critical. And then it's going to go on to, by the way, I'm going to put an aside here. Your players might say, or whoever these guys are being attacked, hey, wait a second, he doesn't get to attack all of us and just fly off. Like, we get to do opportunities as he's going by us. Well, first of all, as you may recall, this power does not allow opportunity attacks. The Frost Giant did. It didn't have that stipulation. So the skeletons and Vanny could have attacked him while he was going around. And you can't really do that with a visitation attack because it's a continuous macro and it's going to keep moving the guy to the next visit points. So if you want to do it procedurally so that he goes to the first spot here, attacks, goes to the second and gets attacked by the opportunity, etc., then don't do this as a visitation attack. Just do it like as an at will or something so you can keep running it. I think it's easier this way because this way you can just say to these guys afterwards, okay, listen, let me just do the visitation attack, finish, and you guys can do your opportunity attacks later. Unless it matters, unless the guy's going to die. You know, that if some guys are close to death, including him, he might not make it to Vanny if there's an opportunity allowed here. And he's down low on hit points, it could kill him right here, in which case you'll have to do a lot of undoing and stuff like that. So it's up to you how you want to work this. But if everybody's healthy, then it's best to work it as a visitation attack. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just up to you. That will definitely bloody Vanny. And by the way, we could have done a fourth point just to get him out of there. But I mean, I like just moving him to the right spot. And he's so smug and satisfied with himself, he says, "You know what? I think I'll do stone form right now. Just I can just lay low, relax. Let's see if stone form works." Oh, did I click it? Oh, it's giving us that error again. Disengage. Remember, disengaging is important. So I've actually just put that check in the last service level, so to remind us. So that's a good thing. We need to disengage dead tokens. So now that the effects are completely cleared off him, now we can actually go and we can do, and remember to keep clearing your memory. So we can go at will, go stone form, and we get the resist all resist effect being registered. So it's going to be really hard to damage this guy now. The 15 points of temporary, do that manually or create a secondary, do a rebuild. Actually, why don't I show you that? We can actually do that. We can model that behavior by rebuilding the power into a different type of mechanic. We can go stone form and repurpose this power into something else. We'll call it stone form personal. So it's a different name, so it'll get created for a different thing. And we will do the reverse this time. It still has the base text, but we won't do the resist all because we've already got that in the regular stone form. So we'll cancel this right here. We don't want resist all because we already have it in the base stone form. See that in the chat? This time we will do the temporary hit points and we'll run this guy at the beginning of each turn. You know what? We can actually set that to a start turn trigger, but it's only applies when he's in stone form, so it's best just do it ad hoc. But I don't think he gets 50 points. He gets, what it's doing is it's just gathering all the numbers it sees in the text, which obviously isn't correct. It's just 10 temporary hit points. So the second two numbers are not valid. So we will get rid of those. And it's on him. Say okay. And nope, we're not doing resist all for allies. So let's actually take a look at his library token and our new stone form personal. Uh-oh, it didn't actually put in the the temporary hit points. That's okay. We can actually add that as a block, as an exercise. And I'll leave you to do that. You should know how to do append RE block by now. And as you know, of course, you'll select the null state, and then the property will be temp HP. And then you can add that block. And that's it. Our gargoyle is configured and ready to go. Thanks for watching.